it's Jennifer from Flux. In this video, we're going to learn how to crochet a 6-point granny star. This is a fun and quick little project. You can use this in a variety of ways. You can use it as a garland, you can use it as a little coaster, or other ways to decorate as well. And it just takes some simple materials, and we're going to be using some Red Heart Super Saver for this project. You can really use any yarn you like. I'm going to be using blue and the turquoise over here. Now I made a solid color one, and then I made a 3-color one. We're going to make a 2-color star so I can show you both how to transition on rounds where you switch colors and how to transition on rounds where you don't switch colors. It's just slightly different. So we're going to kind of do the best of both worlds and do a 2-color one. You'll also need your crochet hook. I'm going to be using a K crochet hook for mine. This is a Furls Odyssey hook, in case you're wondering. I always get a lot of questions about the hooks I use. You'll also need a pair of scissors and a tapestry needle as well. So let's get started. Okay, so we're going to just slide everything out of the way here. I'm going to keep these stars handy so we can refer to them back if we need to. So just grab the first color you want to do. And again, I'm going to show you how to both stick with the same color and to switch colors as well. We're going to make ours in the turquoise and the blue. Okay? So what you want to do is to first put a slip knot around your hook. Okay, so wrap the yarn around your fingers to make a loop. Bring the yarn behind your loop. Reach in with the hook, bring up a loop, and tighten. Then we're going to chain 4. Okay? So to make a chain, we're going to let this tail kind of hang down for now. Let me just zoom in just a little. Okay, so to make a chain, wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the loop. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so then we're going to make a ring that we'll be working our stitches into. Okay, so to make the ring, insert the hook into the farthest chain from the hook, bring up a loop. Now bring that loop through the loop already on your hook. Now you can kind of open up that loop because we're going to be working our stitches, a bunch of stitches into the center of that, okay? So then what we're going to do is hold that tail along the edges you work, and that will weave that in as you go along. And what we're going to do is chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now the center of our star looks sort of like a flower, okay? So we're going to be creating these groups of 3 double crochets. So what you'll want to do is this chain 3 counts as one of our double crochets. So go ahead and make 2 more double crochets into the center of the ring. To make a double crochet, wrap yarn around hook, insert the hook into the center of the ring, bring up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. Wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the first 2 loops. Wrap yarn around hook, bring it through the last 2 loops. You'll work 1 more into the center, and then chain 1. And then we're going to work the next grouping. So work 3 double crochet into the center of the ring. So 1, 2, get a little bit more yarn, and 3, chain 1. So now we have 2 groups. Because it's a 6-pointed star, we need 6 groups, okay? So let's work the next one. 1, 2, 3, chain 1, slide it over. Next group, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, holding that tail along the edge, and 3 double crochet. Chain 1, slide that over. So we have 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups, 4 groups. We need 2 more. So work your 3 double crochet. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, and let's do that last group. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, and then we're going to join to create to complete our round. So count 1, 2, 3 chains up, insert into that chain, bring up a loop, bring that loop through the loop already on your hook. So that round is complete. Let's move on to the next round. Okay, so let's move on to round 2. Now for round 2, for this particular star we'll be making, I'm going to switch colors. And then for when we go from round 2 to 3, we'll stick with the same color. That way you can see both. So I just cut the yarn and I'm going to fasten off, okay? So if you want to switch colors, what you'll do is grab your next color. And my center pull ball just kind of flung a bunch of yarn at me there. Okay, so what I like to do whenever I have these groups that I'm going to be working in between like this, I kind of like to separate them out, okay? So in any of these, remember the chain ones we did? In any of these chain one spaces, just insert your hook into any of them and kind of hook the new yarn on and bring it through, and then you can just tie it right on. Now there's other ways to join yarn and switch colors, but this is the way I like to do it. It's super easy, and with these granny projects, you can weave the tail in as you go, which is super easy, okay? Also, the one that we wove in, flip it over and pull it snug and give it a little trim, and we'll get that tail out of the way. And this other tail here, we'll weave that in as we continue around our round, okay? So what you're going to do is, again, we're going to hold this tail along the edge as we work, insert your hook into that same space, bring up a loop, and then chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now if we refer back to our star, this one's the same, but this one's a little bit easier to see because of the color distinction. This aqua is what we're going to be working on next. So you can see here, as we expand and create these star points, we're going to have 2 groups in each space now, okay? So we're going to chain 3, work 2 double crochet, 1 and 2, chain 1, and you can slide it over if need be, and then work 3 double crochets all in the same space. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay? Just like that. Next, we're going to hop over to the next space. So see, skip over that group of 3 double crochets and hop over to the next space and work the same thing. 3 double crochet, chain 1, 3 double crochet. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, chain 1, and then 3 more in that same space. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, hop over to the next space, so skip over that group and do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, chain 1, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we're starting to have the beginnings of our star. Let me just get this aqua out of the way here. Okay, hop over to the next grouping, and we're going to do the same thing. 3 double crochet, 1, 2, whoops, let's try that again. 2, 3, chain 1, push that over, and work 3 double crochet again, all in that same space. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now we have a tail, so we're going to hold that along the edge and skip over that next group and just do the same thing. 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, chain 1, and then 3 double crochet on that same space. I'm still holding that tail. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and kind of straighten things out as we go. Okay, now we're in our last little space here to work in. Hop on over to that space and do the same thing. 3 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, chain 1, 1, 2, 3, chain 1, and then we're going to join. So count 1, 2, 3 chains up, join with a slip stitch to close. Same thing we've been doing in the previous round. And then we're not going to cut our yarn this time. We're going to stick with the yarn. However, to begin the next round, we need to be in this corner space. See how we've created these corners now? It doesn't quite look like a star yet, but we've created some corners. So what we're going to do is we need to slip stitch over to the right spot. This is where switching colors and sticking with the same color is slightly different. It's the same stitches and you're doing basically the same thing, but when you stick with the same color, you must slip stitch over to the correct spot, okay? So what we're going to do, and I like to go in the back loops to keep it kind of concealed. So go in, see how you have a V at the top? I just like to go in the back loops. It's totally up to you. But so you're going to go into that loop, bring up a loop, bring that loop through the loop already on your hook. Hop over to the next loop, do the same thing. We're just trying to get our hook to this corner space, okay? Hop over to that next loop, do the same thing. And now we're at the right spot. So our corners here, our little star points are going to be worked basically the same way we did before, but we're going to be working some slip stitches in there too to create that divot that we need for that iconic star shape, and we're going to be adding an extra chain onto the point, okay? So let's begin round 3. Round 3, chain 3 once again, 1, 2, 3. Then work 2 double crochets because that chain 3 counts as one of our double crochets of this round. So 1 and 2. Now we're going to do, instead of a chain 1, we're going to do a chain 2 because we need some space at the top of that point to create that nice little point. So chain 2, 1, 2, then work 3 double crochets into that same space. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we have our first star point and it looks like this one, okay? So now into that next area in between these two groupings here is a little space there. See that little space? We need to work a slip stitch into that space to create that divot. So insert the hook into that space, bring up a loop, bring that loop through the loop already on your hook. And see how that brings that point downward the way we need it to look? Hop over to the next corner space. See in between that two grouping, it kind of forms a V shape. Work 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. So 1, 2, 3, chain 2, 1, 2, and then work 3 double crochets in that same space. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, just like that. We have our next star point, okay? Now, again, in that space in between our groupings, insert the hook, bring up a loop, bring that loop through the loop already on your hook to create that slip stitch. Head over to the next point. Remember that V with that space there? Work your next point. 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, again chain 2, 1, 2, and then 3 more double crochet all in that same space. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, we're about halfway around here. Work a slip stitch in between our groupings once again, just like that, and then work your next point. 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, Okay, chain 2, and then work 3 double crochet in that same space. 1, 2, 3. Again, work your slip stitch in between your points, and then work your next point. 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, chain 2, get a little bit more yarn here. Those center pull balls of yarn are super helpful. 3 double crochet again, 1, 2, and 3. Slip stitch in between your points, in between those groupings, and then we're on our last point here, okay? Now this looks a little rumpled. We're gonna straighten things out at the end, okay? So work your last point, 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, chain 2, 1, 2. Whoops! I got a lot of yarn with that one. We'll just slide that over a little bit. Sometimes it comes out in clumps. All right, and then 3 double crochet. 1, 2, and 3. Okay? We have one last slip stitch to do to finish off our point. Really brings it back down. And then what we're going to do is finish it off with the slip stitch at the end too. So count 3 chains up, 1, 2, 3, same thing we did before. Insert the hook, bring up a loop, bring that loop through the loop already on your hook, and then you can take your scissors and cut the yarn, and then what we're going to do is fasten off, and our star is complete. Now like I said, it looks a little rumply. We're going to straighten things out. So what I like to do is just kind of straighten everything out like this, and then what you can do is kind of stick your fingers or even your hook and kind of sharpen up those points. You want to get those points nice and sharp. You can block these if you want them to be very, very pointy, and that works especially well if you use natural fibers. Okay, so here is our star, and I have to say that the 2-color one, like I did here, it does have more of a flower effect, but as you can see, they're all the same. So 1 color, 2 colors, and 3 colors, and they look very cute. They're very fun and festive. So let's do one more thing to our star so we can finish it up. What you want to do, now this is the front side, or the right side as some people call it. This is the side that faced you while you worked. So what we're going to do is flip it over to the back. See how it looks a little bit different? And then the ends that you wove in as you went along, you can simply just trim those at this point. We have 2 of those. And then we had one where we ended up. So we can't weave that in as we go along because we're finished. So grab your tapestry needle and go ahead and thread it, and into the back loops on the back side of your star, we're going to go in one direction, just like that with our needle, and then pull it through, give it a little tug to kind of pull that knot in. Remember when we fastened off? And then you're just going to go into the back loops in the other direction. Okay, so just go ahead and pull that through. And you can go ahead and snip that off, okay? Okay, so our 6-point star is complete, and it looks very pretty. I also wanted to mention as a side note that I have a video if you want to make a 5-point star. I also have a video for a 5-point star, so be sure and check that out as well. That's a very easy pattern too, and you can use it for a variety of things as well. So that is how you crochet a 6-point granny star. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure and click the subscribe button to get all the latest Fiber Flux video updates. Thanks again!